Hi guys. Now, you guys, like I stated there, you guys must be wondering what has this got to do with programming and Java exceptions. Yeah, you got a guy doing bench presses. Now, actually, if you think of it, maybe I'm trying to debunk, the theory that gigs can't do bench presses. Maybe, who knows? But actually, what I'm trying to show you is this guy here. He's doing bench presses, which he should have a partner sparring him just in case he drops the weight. Now, that is exactly what exceptions does in Java programming and other programming languages. It is a form of a safety net. In this case, maybe a belt, a gym belt, a safety belt of a motor car. It is there so that if something goes wrong, it throws an exception. Now, there are various types of exceptions, and we're going to get to that next. Okay, to carry on with our exceptions, yeah, I've got a little class called main, and it's got in its main method, the method which will be called when you run the program. What I've done here is I actually want to print out arg0. Now, if you can see, just to explain if you've never seen this before, this is a string, an array, that a string array. So it should contain strings in here, a whole lot of strings. But yet, let's see what happens if I run this program. And here it is. Java has thrown a Java lang array index out of bound exception at index 0 out of bounds. Okay, so what it's telling me is there's something wrong with this program I'm on. It's thrown an exception. Now, if you can see here, this args here, I've asked it to print argument 0, so the first argument. But as I've passed nothing to this program, to this main method, it's thrown an exception. So this is actually, which we'll come to it, is one of the type of exceptions. This is a runtime exception. And you get other type of exceptions such as a caught exception or a checked exception and errors. Those are the three main categories which we'll look at now. But just to explain what's happening here, when I run this program, I'm asking it to print the first argument that I've given, and I haven't given an argument, and that's why it's throwing this. So by the way, I'm using Eclipse here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to try and run this, but I'm going to open it in the terminal window. So I'm going to say open with the terminal, or show in terminal actually. And I'm going to go to the bin directory. Now, why the bin directory is because the compiled, while the source code is in this source directory, the actual compiled, the dot class files, that would be a main dot class file, is actually lying in a folder called bin, and this is configurable depending how that's a default configuration in Eclipse. There could be, you could change it to something else if you wanted to. So what I'm actually doing is I'm just going to run it in with a Java command, which I can then show you. If I pass other information, it will then the runtime exception wouldn't be thrown. So what I'm doing here, I'm actually running the Java command with the file name, and that is, remember, it will always have a package. If it has a package, so in this case it would be part1.main. That will actually be the app name, main, and part1 because it's lying under part1. And now I'm going to add something to it like hello. And you'll see no exception is thrown because argument 0, 1, arg0 means the first string in an array. That's an array that can hold a whole lot of strings. So therefore that runtime exception is not thrown. So let me show you something else quickly. Now I've added, I want to throw another one there. So if I had to now do that again and just pass it the hello, just the one, it's going to print the first one, but the second one, because it hasn't got a second string in the list of arrays, it should throw an error, not an error, an exception. Okay, I didn't compile it, and that's why it's still fine. So let me just compile it quickly. Easiest way to compile, I'm just going to save it there. I'm going to run it again and try it now. And you see, okay, so you'll see there it printed hello. And then it says, oh, wait a bit, but you're also asking for the second one. And it's throwing an array index out exception, which is exception at 1. So this is a basic, little simple thing on showing you how exceptions are thrown if you try and do something in a program and the program tells you, hey, just hold on a bit, but there's something wrong here. And this is a very simple exception. It's thrown a runtime exception, and we'll speak more about exceptions when I see you again. Okay, enjoy.